Hey everybody, Semantic Mastery with the Hump Day Hangouts. It is March 18th, Wednesday at 4 p.m. This is episode 20. As always, Bradley is here, and I believe we also have Marco and Hernan. So how's it going, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, everyone.
Marco?
Hey, Adam.
Hey, all right, good deal. Well, all right, let's just get right into it. I think we got a few things to go over real quick, and then we'll be jumping right into the questions. I think we got several this week.
Okay, yeah. There was a couple things we wanted to talk about up front. I know that we had asked or offered, we mentioned it. That's what I'm looking for. By the way, everybody, happy Hump Day. It's March 18th. This is episode 20, March 18th, 2015. I typically like to state that up front so anybody watching it, the replay, would know. By the way, Hump Day, yeah. If anybody wants to post any questions, put them directly on the events page. That's the best place for them. We're going to answer questions on a first-come, first-served basis as usual. So anybody that's already posted those will get answered first, and I'm sure we'll have a bunch of questions roll in. We're going to stop this at exactly, well, probably about 5 minutes to 5, so about 52, 53 minutes from now, so that we can prepare for the MasterCLASS. So the announcements that I want to state right now in the opening part of this is, number one, MasterCLASS episode 2 or training number 2 is today, immediately following this, and this is the last opportunity to get in today before or to where you'll still get the replays in real time. In other words, if you sign up today, then you'll still get the replays immediately after their after our webinars, which means you'll have immediate access to them. Anytime that you sign up after today, you will still get access to all the replays, and you can attend all the live webinars. There's no limitation to that. You can attend the live webinars, but the replays are going to be dripped out at a rate of 1 every 7 days. So that makes it fair to the members that signed up early. Plus, like I've said before, it's so that you guys can digest the content and take action on each week's lesson. Do that on purpose because too many people will just watch the training webinars and not take action, and then their business won't go. They won't go make any progress, is what I'm saying. So, just so you guys know, you can still sign up today. Adam might have to pull a rabbit out of his hat to get you in there quickly.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Sign up today.
During the webinar. I'll get you in there one way or another.
Yeah, and then like I said, you'll still get access to the replays immediately. As they're uploaded to the members area, which is generally within 24 hours. Okay, so just so you know, Adam, I don't know if you've already done it, but drop the link in the events page for MasterCLASS.
I'm doing that right now.
Okay. Next announcement is well, I guess a little housekeeping ahead of time about the Done For You network services. We're definitely behind, guys. I know that we've actually delivered a couple more of them today. We should be caught up by the end of the week with the initial surge, which means next week we'll be catching up with the ones that came afterwards. We had like close to 20 orders on the first day, and so we've got several of them out. Probably about half of them out, but I brought on another. I actually took one of my virtual assistants from my own business, not from Semantic Mastery, and I put them on loan to Semantic Mastery to build networks too, to try to get caught up. So my own local business is running a little lean right now because Semantic Mastery's got it all my assistants over there. But we're catching up, guys. So I just want to let you know. Thanks for being patient. We certainly appreciate it. We should be caught up hopefully by the end of this week, which means next week we'll be able to deliver everybody's that ordered past the first day. And then we should be on a pretty regular schedule beyond that. So that's
we'll make it up. We'll make it up for
yeah, we'll make it up to you guys somehow. We'll figure something out, do something special for you guys that were delayed on your deliveries a little bit, and make sure everybody's happy. Okay. Next thing, we had talked about possibly offering additional boosting services, link building services for the IFTTT network. So SCS networker packages, as well as GSA as a possible upgrade for that, for those of you that want to basically strengthen your networks even more. And so we actually are going to launch that today on a limited release. We've got on with me right now Dedia. He's my tool manager. He's been working for me for, I don't know, probably over a year now, and he is a freaking ninja. He's the one that runs FCS Networker for me and GSA, and he's really, really, really talented. And he's built his own agency now where they can handle the volume. So we decided to offer that to you guys as well if you wanted that for additional boosting services for your networks. That's something that I deal with all of my networks. I'll be real honest with you guys. Every time I build a network, usually I mentioned to you guys many times, I do a 2-tier network before I even test a keyword. So it'll be 4 rings essentially, tier 1 and then 3 tier 2 rings, and that's what I'll use before I test a keyword at all. And then after I prime the network with a few posts or videos, then I just hand it over to Dedia, and he just starts building links to it. It's like just starts firing links at it, and to basically boost the power of the network. And then I'll monitor things, and if I need additional networks in order to rank the videos for the keywords I'm looking for, or blog posts, whatever it may be, then I'll add additional networks. And again, to be honest, I usually stack several networks. I only do what's required to get things to rank, and then I'll stop stacking networks. But I do still power up my networks using tools. I've mentioned many times, I know a lot of you guys on here probably have SendWire. SendWire is fine. You can use that. I use SendWire to boost my IFTTT networks. That's something that I use myself, though, because it's easy to manage. FCS Networker and GSA, they're more complicated, more complex tools, and I never took the time to learn them because I hired Dedia, and he's awesome at what he does. So we wanted to offer that as a potential upgrade for you guys that need the extra power, or if you've got, if you're serious and you've got a few networks that you want that are just going to, you just want them to be like freaking crazy powerful, then that's something that you can offer or that you can upgrade with if you want. So if you've got the link, Adam, if you could drop that in.
Yeah, sure thing.
On the page. And again, guys, this is like if some of you guys are just starting out, don't worry about it yet. We're not saying you need to purchase this for it to work, because you don't. Just start with the IFTTT networks, the bare networks. Start ranking videos, start getting income coming in, and then if you need, if you want to buy your own tools and do your own link building, by all means do it. But just don't let that distract you from building a business either. And so the link building service that we're offering is for those of you that are more focused on building a business than you are on the actual work itself, if that makes sense. And you guys know I encourage that a lot, is that you figure out ways to outsource things so that you can work on actually, making money instead of doing the actual work, the physical work itself that it takes to get there, you know what I mean? So that service that we're offering, by the way, let me know what you think of the video. I put that video together last night, and I think it's funny.
Just chiming, Bradley, sorry. I wanted to mention that all of those print screens and examples that I put on the I mostly put them on the mastermind, but I could probably start pushing them to the to the open groups we have, just to show that these kind of FCS plus GSA stuff work. We have done a recently MAS update, domain authority, page authority update, like a couple of days ago, and all of the networks that I'm doing these kind of link building have jumped 10 points of page authority like nothing, so that's I should probably start sharing those print screens over the open groups, because it's important that people see that they work, and you will notice them on faster rankings and overall, yeah, easier, less complicated work.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, the boost by building additional links, boosting your networks, guys. And you can also, by the way, we are only offering this service for IFTTT networks or PBNs.
Right.
If you have PBN sites and you want to boost your PBN sites, this would work for that as well. And let me take the screen for a minute and just show you guys what I got. And again, this isn't a big pitch fest, but I know we're going to get a bunch of questions, and that's fine, guys. Ask questions, because I want you to understand what it is that we're offering. And so we can talk about that today, or even in the groups, guys. We've got the IFTTT group, the free Facebook group, and the free Google Plus group. Plus, we have the mastermind. Anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask, and we'll try to clarify. But the FCS Networker, there's 3 different package levels. The Tier 1 links, and when I say Tier 1 here, it's Tier 1 to whatever we're building links to. And again, we recommend this only to your FCS Networker. To your IFTTT networks or PBN sites. These are not directly to your money site, okay? So FCS Networker links would be Tier 1, which essentially, if we're building Tier 1 links to your IFTTT networks, then what is that in relation to your money site? It'd be Tier 2, correct? So I don't want to confuse you guys, but just remember that our target URLs from Tier 1 here would be your IFTTT networks or PBN sites if that's what you want. And so our packages are 14,400 contextual links. These are FCS networker links because why? They're higher domain authority sites. They're typically Web 2s and social bookmarking type sites, so they're going to be safer and cleaner. We want to do that intentionally, guys, because we do not want to start banging out GSA links towards your properties at any closer than 3 hops or 2 hops away, Tier 3 or beyond, if that makes sense. I know if you guys have been following us at all, that's where we always talk about using that. Don't use GSA any closer than Tier 3. Well, in this case, it would be Tier 3 if you purchased the upgrade, which is 72,000 GSA links, which really just blasts the hell out of the FCS links. Okay, so it's a tiered linking structure, and it's just to actually boost your network properties. And you could essentially, like what I do with Dedia, is I hand them all of the property links from my network. So, for example, if I'm boosting a Tier 1 IFTTT network, and I'm using roughly 22 properties, right? The 15 properties from IFTTT, and then the 7 live stream sites, right? So I'll hand over to Dedia in a spreadsheet all 22 links, and he'll split up. He'll build the campaign to actually split fairly evenly across those 22 property links, so that I'm boosting every property in that network, if that makes sense. You guys can be more selective if you'd like, but I would recommend that you spread it across your entire network, if that makes sense. Okay. So just lastly, I want to jump on the sales page for just a minute, and I'll pause the video. And anyways, we'll probably get some additional graphics made, guys, and I will probably put some notes underneath the video here or underneath the graphics that explain this a little bit better. We just slapped this up last night. Oh, and by the way, if anybody's worried that is interested in purchasing, this is going to be a limited opening just for like probably, I don't know, we might take like 10 orders or something and then shut it down just to make sure that we don't have the same thing happen with the IFTTT network order building, and that's that we don't want to get overwhelmed. So we'll probably just do a small opening, get a few of you in, run you through the system, see how everything works before we leave it open. That way we can make sure that we smooth it out so that none of you guys are waiting, okay? And again, if you have any questions, just let us know, and we'll probably replace these graphics with something that's a little. Hernan threw these together the other day, and thank you, by the way, Hernan, for doing that.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Graphics made. And I'll probably put some notes explaining a little bit more below, but this is just kind of a down and dirty. We wanted to get this up and do a limited release to get some people into the system. And lastly, if we go over to the form itself, you'll see that it's much simpler than the IFTTT networks ordering, because all you're doing is giving us your target URLs and give us some keywords, and that's pretty much all we need to get started, okay? And guys, this will power up your networks or your PBNs, but you can use it for either. But again, I didn't want to spend a lot of time pitching, and we already spent 15 minutes, so let's go answer some questions instead. If you guys have any questions, just let us know in the groups, or submit a support ticket if necessary. I want to start at the bottom, guys, and work my way up, and I want to try to run through some of this kind of quickly. I know that last week there was a question, somebody asked about P1 Rank Me, what I thought about that, and I have been testing that, and I know Hernan and I both spoke about it last week. I wanted to make a clarification because somebody brought it to my attention that, where am I using that? I guess I wasn't real clear as to how I'm using that plugin. Anybody that's using that plugin, I use it for the videos only. I'm not using it to bookmark or build links to my blog posts on my money sites. I'm just using it for the video, to build links to the videos. And I just wanted to clarify that. I would be wary of or concerned about using that system to build links directly to my money site, because especially because it integrates with Spin Rewriter and that sort of thing, it's going to be really spammy stuff that's going to build links back. For videos, it's fine, but for building links back to the actual web pages or the blog posts on the site, I would not recommend doing that, and that is not how I'm using it. And I guess I wasn't real clear about that last week, guys. I think it's a good plugin for building links to videos and the playlists. Anybody that has that plugin knows that you can add playlists to it and build links to the playlists on autopilot. And so that's just an additional way to help rank videos, but I would not recommend doing it directly to your blog post, your pages or posts on your site, okay? Just want to clarify that. Okay, Gary says, would using Amazon CloudFront as a CDN be a good choice for a WordPress site for both speed and cost? Yeah, and Gary, I answered you here, and I think you had already employed that, and I think you said you had amazing results with your page speed increasing. So, by the way, guys, if anybody's interested in learning how to use CloudFront, I did a training on it. It's right here, and in the description of the video, if you click on that, you'll see I have the steps all typed out, like in linear format, step 1, step 2, and it'll show you how to set up Amazon CloudFront as a content delivery network, and will speed your sites up considerably. I've had some questions about other CDNs, but that's the only one that I've ever used, so I couldn't answer them. I've just always used Amazon CloudFront. That's how you set it up. Estelle says, unfortunately, I won't be able to attend the Hangout. Let's see. How do you deal with the Google dance? That's a great question. And Sandy, hi Sandy, she basically seconded it. She said, I really didn't care about it when I was only into affiliate SEO, but now that I do client work as well, seeing rankings for the keywords and related expressions I am targeting go down makes me feel very anxious. I know you're supposed to go up later, but that's not a lot of stress and makes me wonder whether I might have made the right backlinking decisions. Okay. I've got the perfect and the best answer for you, Estelle and Sandy both. Stop watching your rankings every day. If you want to know how to deal with the Google dance, don't watch it. And I know that might not be the answer you were looking for, but that's how you deal with it. You just don't try to track your rankings on your properties every day, because it will make you anxious. Instead, set milestones, or set a schedule where you check them once a week or once, every 2 weeks or something like that. That way you're not freaking out if you're doing the dancing. And by the way, from my observations, videos do more volatile dancing than blog posts do or websites do. That's not necessarily always the case, but I see videos dance a hell of a lot more. Or more of a drastic change than I do with blog posts or web pages, if that makes sense. Okay, so just the easy answer really is just don't watch them every day. Okay, just set a schedule where you check them once a week or once every 2 weeks or even once a month for more established stuff, and that way it'll take that anxiousness away, because it's just more watching them every day, man. Especially some of you that are doing stuff for the first time. And because I know in the Facebook group, some of you guys have ranked a video like it's been on like page 2 for a day, and then it disappears. And I've gotten those PMs from you guys, private messages going, "Did I get de-indexed?" I'm saying, no, it's normal. Just relax. It'll come back in a few days, and it'll probably come back higher than it was. So just relax, okay? It's normal. Sandy says, I want to second that question. Is there a way to avoid it or make it not last as long? Just leave them alone. Especially with websites, guys. With videos, if you want to try some other things, even videos, if they disappear or they drop many pages, don't worry about it. A lot of the times you'll see them disappear out of Google. They'll still be in YouTube, but they'll disappear out of Google. Don't worry about it. Videos will come back. Just give them a few. Sometimes I've had videos that have taken a couple weeks to come back, but when they do, they generally come back higher than where they were to begin with. With websites, do not watch your rankings, and then if your rankings drop, go in and start making a bunch of changes. That is the worst thing you can do. Okay? So, and that goes for on page and off page. What I mean by that is if you see your page drop, 2 pages, like your listing, it drops 2 or 3 pages for a website, and then you go in and you make a bunch of on page changes, then how do you know what on-page changes either brought it back or hurt it worse? What Hernan could second this. What typically we will do if we see something that moves or shifts considerably is go in and make a single change of some sort and take notes. I think you were about to chime in, Hernan, weren't you?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's like split testing your SEO changes, but you also need to have in mind that it's taking Google longer and longer, not for videos, but usually for websites. If we keep addressing websites, you used to have like instant results on some cases for, I don't know, a couple of links, but then it's taking Google longer and longer to process sort of or to index those changes. Yeah, that's right. So my view on this is that you make a change, you wait a week, and then it's like making ripples, on the ocean or on a pond, that you throw a stone on it, and you need to wait until it settles, and then when it settles, then you can go ahead and make changes, and it can take from 1 week to 2 weeks, if you're link building or if you're syndicating out, it's completely normal. So it will come up, and you know, you just need to settle it down for a bit until you can see unobscured results based on time. You know.
That's right, and that's what I was saying. On-page stuff, especially. Yep. Links, same thing. Like any kind of link building you do, I always wait. Especially like guys, Web 2 links, they take a long time to get indexed. There's ways to force that, which I was going to probably talk about today, but I don't think we're going to get to it. So I think we'll schedule that. Will be like the announcement, or the kind of like I'll do like a brief formal training at the beginning of the next Hump Day Hangout next week on how to like force the index on some of these automatically. Guys, you can go out and get indexing services. You know, let's see. Indexing services for you know, your Web 2 links, but you'd have to manually go scrape all of them from each one of your network sites, right? And then go paste them into your indexing service. And you can certainly do that. I don't recommend it because part of the reason we set up IFTTT Networks is because it automates everything. So we do have a solution for automating your indexing as well, but we weren't really ready for it today. And looks like Adam was just updating me that we could possibly talk about it today, but I think what I'll do is I'll schedule that and like make that the first 15 minutes next week, guys, because I think it's important that you see how to do that. But that said, Web 2 links take a long time to get indexed, so you won't see significant results from doing like syndications across Web 2s like immediately. If you got some high-powered links from PBNs or SAPE links or something like that that you're using, you could see some significant results in about, like what Hernan said, 7 to 10 days, something like that, from adding a couple links or 1 or 2 links pointing back to your site. But for on-page changes, I would wait at least 7 days. And I would only change one thing at a time. So, for example, if you're worried about your on-page, if you think, okay, my site just dropped or my page just dropped because I'm over-optimized, and that's a very real possibility. What I would go in and do is change like maybe just your title tag and your URL or something like that. Just make some, 1 or 2 changes and that's it, and leave it alone. Don't touch it again for at least 7 days. I would say as much as 2 weeks to see what it does, because on-page changes you have to wait until Google refreshes, right? And Google refreshes it's Panda refresh every 20 days or so, roughly.
Yeah, 20 days, yeah.
It's every 20 days or so, roughly. So wait. Make an on-page change and wait and see. Okay?
Yeah. And you know that it's working, sorry, Bradley, but you know that it's working not by the rankings itself, but I like to focus on traffic and conversions, and you can go like to SEMrush and SpyFu, those kind of tools that will let you know how many keywords have gained rankings, because it's not always the keyword that you are that you are actually tracking, but a whole bunch of other keywords that you aren't even aware of, and it can happen. So that means that you're having a more natural profile, that what you're doing it's working, and your website is gaining visibility, which we should be aiming anyways.
That's right. Okay, so Lewis says, hey all, great day, had a few questions. How can I ensure that all foreign, not mine, RSS feeds I acquire for both the IFTTT Tier 2 process and the separate RSS Academy process have their respective attribution requirements covered? Where do I check within their feeds? Great question, Lewis. Inside the IFTTT SEO Academy Advanced Strategy Webinar number 2, we discussed that in the beginning. The first half or so was about tiered networks again, and I specifically addressed that question because of another one of the members having an issue, because I guess I wasn't real clear about that in the training originally, so that's why it's in the Advanced Strategy Webinar number 2. However, what I suggest doing is just going over to Firefox and checking it. So when you're collecting related feeds from other content sources, go check it in Firefox, right? That's a native feed reader, and then look for the attribution link. If it's not there, a lot of the time, more often than not, it will be there because it's coded into the site, or they're using Yoast, which so many damn sites use Yoast, it's ridiculous. So it's usually there. And even sites that aren't using Yoast, sometimes, like HTML sites, things like that, they'll have, a lot of the times they'll be coded in. But it's not always the case, and so you're right, you need to check. So check it in Firefox. If it does not have an attribution link, then you code that in yourself in the IFTTT recipe. Okay, and those are some of the ingredients that are selectable when you're modifying the recipe or creating, you're either modifying the recipe because you're using the public recipe URLs we gave you, or you're creating from scratch your own recipes, which is fine. And in the body of the content area of the body for the recipe, there will be ingredients from the drop-down menu that will allow you to put a link back to the source. Okay, and it's clearly identified in there. It's self-explanatory, but you'll just need to code it in yourself. And again, I covered this and went through it in Advanced Strategy webinar number 2 and the beginning part of it. So if you watch that, that'll answer your questions. But it's a great question, by the way. Number 2, can I, and if so, what are the concerns behind using my multiple networks, 3 persona-based, for multiple money sites simultaneously? No, that's fine. As long as it's in the same niche, you can absolutely do that, Lewis. In fact, that wouldn't be a bad idea, considering you could essentially use your own money sites as the other authority content feeds, right? So you feed the same network, as long as it's in the same industry, the same niche, or ballpark, same industry, same niche, if that makes sense, then you can absolutely do that, because then you're not leaving a clear footprint, right? Because you're resyndicating content from multiple content sources. So you can absolutely do that. And that will also, you'll see that, and that's part of the reason why we use authority-related feeds guides, or related feeds from authority sources, is because you'll see that the authority of your networks will grow too, faster. Your page authority, everything else. You'll see your trust signals, that will all go up and increase when you're using multiple content sources to post. Don't worry about it for branded tier 1 guys. That's you don't need to do that. All you need to do is post your own content. But for tier 2 or persona-based, you want to have multiple content sources. Okay. How does your article syndication affect outbound links within my articles? For example, an article about Joe's sub shop where I link to Joe's. Can syndicating that article cause Joe's problems with the same outbound text links? Yeah, it could. But if you're linking to Joe's sub shop with an exact match anchor, but if you're linking to Joe's sub shop with Joe's sub shop or a URL anchor, it's not going to hurt him because it's a branded anchor text or a naked URL, right? So you're not going to hurt them. So just, yeah, be wary of that, just be wary of that. Just, if I'm linking out to somebody else's property, I'm typically linking out either with their brand name or a naked URL or like a long piece of anchor text, which would be like the title of the blog post that I'm linking to. Like I'll use that whole full title as the anchor text and link to it so that it does not cause a problem for them. Does that make sense? Okay. Jason, he says, will you play Aerosmith's I Don't Want to Miss a Thing on repeat? That's funny, Jason. I'm going to have to work that into the replay. That's funny. Take the Hump Day Hangout bumper out and put that in first. Or maybe immediately following it anyways. Okay. Let's see. Braulio says, I've already posted this question on today's IFTTT Masterclass about keyword research, but I thought it might be a good idea to post it here too, in case you think it's a good idea to have enough time to answer. Yeah, Braulio, in case I don't get to the pre-posted questions, remember we only got 15 minutes in Masterclass for questions at the end, but anything that does not get answered there, post in the Facebook group, and we will get them covered within the Facebook group between now and next week. Okay, but we'll try to get to them. He says, after keyword research, could you go over your strategy for poking a niche, and what tools do you use to validate if you've done your research correctly? Things like pointing high PR links, PBN links, etc. I know that SerpShaker might be one of them. Yeah, SerpShaker is. By the way, you might want that's a Q, Adam. Semanticmastery.com/SerpShaker. SerpShaker is one of them. That's one that we use to identify keywords that we can rank for easily. And usually I don't need to poke a niche then because that does the poking. And for those of you that don't know what poke a niche means, it means testing keywords to see which ones rank, and then so you put a property out there, whether it's a YouTube video or a Web 2 or something that you've optimized for a keyword that you're potentially going after, and then you basically bump it up. You try to rank it very quickly or very easily. That's why we recommend using YouTube videos or Web 2 sites, not a self-hosted domain, because that's typically going to take you a hell of a lot longer. But using YouTube or Web 2 sites, you can typically rank a lot faster. Weebly, I use Weebly's for a ton of stuff, so I'll set up a Weebly site if I'm trying to test a niche other than and I want to do something other than videos. And basically, you try to rank it very quickly and see how see how viable the keyword is by poking that with another web property, whether a YouTube video or Web2 or whatever. And so obviously YouTube videos and things like Weebly's that have high domain authority, you can do it with Facebook pages and some other things as well. But you can, because of the domain authority being so high, you could go point a couple really high-powered PBN links at it and see if it ranks very quickly. I got to be honest though, guys, other than I use SAPE links for some stuff, through buffers, of course, but other than that, most everything I do is through my my networks now, my IFTTT networks, because I have so many of them. You know what I mean? So typically, for me to poke something, using your terminology, Braulio, I'll just push it out across my network. And so you ask, how do I know if it's a good idea? Or I'm sorry, how do I validate if I've done my research correctly? That's how I validate. I'll typically just if I think I'm going to go after a particular niche or keyword, I'll create a video. It could just be a kind of a spammy video or something, and I'll push it across my network and watch it, monitor it. If it does well or does close to doing well, in other words, if it ranks like page 2, bottom of page 2, then I know I've got a shot, and then I'll spend a little bit more time trying to rank it. With videos, guys, I talk about it being more than just links. Social signals, social engagement, those are also big factors with videos. So I'll run some microtask click-throughs and searches and click-throughs on the video, things like that, to get it to rank. All right.
Yeah. And sorry, Bradley, but following what Bradley said, I like to treat my Web 2.0s on my, depending on if I have my branded properties or my tier, mostly my tier properties, I like to treat my Web 2.0s as PBNs, because it's very real that they end up getting a lot of juice, and they become really, really powerful. And in some cases, you will spend a lot of money on a PBN domain which stall links, which links that have been built a long time ago. And on those cases, you will be better at having your Web 2.0s pumped or building links to your Web 2.0s as you would with your PBNs. And it's very real that you can use those superpower properties, which are leveraging on a high DA. To poke and to see to do some keyword research, the real world keyword research where you need to see what's ranking and what's not. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and likewise, I mean, we just mentioned using the link building boosting service that we're providing now, guys. I know a lot of you probably have your own tools, but if you've got FCS Networker and GSA and you're priming, you're boosting your networks, right? That's exactly what Hernan just said. Like, our networks, we juice them to where they're just so dang powerful that, if you want to poke a niche, you just push something across that network, and there you go. It'll give you your results. It'll tell you whether that's a viable keyword to go after or not, based on the initial, seriously, if where it lands after the initial syndication. Sometimes it needs additional work, but you'll know that from just where it lands initially, right? I mean, if it lands on page 10, then that's going to be a tough nut to crack. But if it lands on page 2, maybe middle of page 3, something like that, then you know that you've at least got a shot, and then you can do additional things. And like I said, there's, for certain things like Web 2s or videos, I've been known to go buy some SAPE links and use those, because sometimes those are very powerful and they're cheap. You know what I mean? So.
I think you're pointing out something good too about testing them on your own network, and just maybe if you want to say something about that, I think some people might be. You certainly don't want to be pushing a bunch of random stuff across your own network, depending on how it's set up. But also, I know some people might be overly protective of, testing something out on their network.
Well, yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like if I was going after something completely new and I didn't have a network, that totally makes sense. Then I would, I wouldn't want to go out and build a network and prime it and everything else just for a test. Then what I would do is probably like what we just talked about. I'd probably put a Web 2 up, like a Weebly or something, and I'd probably use SendWire or something like that to blast it with some links, or I'd ask Dedia to run a FCS campaign or GSA campaign to it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, and then I'd hit it with a couple SAPE links, if that makes sense. You guys get that? Because that's what I mean. I would literally go get a couple like PR5s or 6s from SAPE Network and pay, I'd probably pay $20-30 a month for it to try it and see, and then I would see what it does. If I could rank, exactly right. I wouldn't want to push something out across a themed network that didn't relate. Okay, but that would also give you a good idea to. That's not a bad idea. It's not something that I have, but I was going to say it's not a bad idea to probably make just a general network that you could use for testing. Okay.
Sure, sure. And I was also going to say to not be afraid. If it's, loosely, this is just my opinion again, but if it's loosely related and, it's not completely branded, I would push something across to test it. I think some people get a little hung up on, it's got to be exactly on there. Say, if you're not putting lawyer stuff on some crazy, or putting up, XXX content or something, it's not going to kill you. So.
And remember, tier 2 networks, guys, that's what I say. Always go more general, like way more broad than what your tier 1 networks are anyways, because that way it gives them much more versatility that you can use for additional things. And I've used this example 1,000 times. I'm going to use it again right now. But like if you're ranking for a plumber, for example, on tier 1, then your tier 1 network is going to be about plumbing. But on your tier 2 networks, they could be about home improvement or construction. Anything general like that that's in that particular, handyman service, anything like that, whatever, that's just along those lines, okay? So it gives you much more versatility in your tier 2 networks that you could use those same tier 2 networks for multiple tier 1 properties, such as plumbers, electricians, HVAC, landscapers, all of that. See how you can, and that's why I'm saying, because you can, if you have a tier 2 network that you really, really boost up, then why not use that same tier 2 network for multiple tier 1 properties? And you see what I'm saying? So if you make it general enough, then you have, you've got a lot more, you can get a lot more mileage or a lot more reach out of that tier 2 network. And it kind of reinforces what we're talking about boosting that tier 2 network as much as you can. You want to get the page authority as high as you can. So instead of having 15 tier 2 networks, right, you could have like one that's just really, really powerful. If that makes sense. Okay. All right, Jamie Oler, he says, branded networks. I have told 4 real estate clients about my success with my branded tier 1 network, and all 4 of them want me to build their tier 1 branded networks now. Wow. Jamie's recently joined us, and he was nervous up front, but he built his own network, his tier 1 network, and had really good success with his first attempt at syndicating across it, and so now he's excited, and it looks like it's rubbing off on his colleagues. He says, if they give me their Google login, should I make sure that there is a recovery email set up that is not a Gmail that they give me access to as well, so I can let Google know I am good to log in, and then I use Firefox, clear cache cookies, clean it, CCleaner, etc. Yeah, I mean, Jamie, I think I mentioned this to you in the Facebook group. I would log in and make yourself a page manager and then manage everything from your own account from that point forward. Okay, that's what I would do. Or send them the video that I created. I don't care. Just copy the URL and send it to them. Say, hey, do this. Watch this video, follow the steps, and make me a page manager. You know what I'm saying? And have them do it if you're really that concerned. I really wouldn't worry about it too much. But if you're concerned about it, send them the video. If you need the link again, just hit me up afterwards in the Facebook group. I'll dig it up and give it to you, and you can send it to them and say, hey, watch this, and add my email address as a page manager. And that way you can manage everything from your own account. Okay. If they only want to make me a manager, do I have access to the G+ profile? Yeah, you've got access. Well, you've got access to their Google+ profile on their YouTube channel. Well, you'll have access to their Google+ business page and their YouTube channel, not their profile. But you don't need access to their profile. You really don't. Don't worry about it. If you're doing a branded network for somebody, you don't have to worry about adding all the links to their profile, to their personal profile. Don't worry about that. Just connect everything to their business page and to their YouTube channel, and that's all you need to worry about. And Blogger, if they already have a Blogger, then yeah, have them send. Then they're going to have to send you the Blogger login details, which would be, I think, their main Google account, anyways. Okay, so, but that's what I would do. 2B, how many people should I be a manager for before it raises red? As many as you want. I think you can manage 50 pages. So that's all I would do is just, and you don't have to be a manager forever. You could just be a manager long enough to set up their accounts, set up their networks, and then ask them to remove you as a manager in case you start getting close to that 50 mark. You might need to do that, and that's fine. That's not a problem. Okay. Let's see. Chris says, are these monthly recurring fees? Oh, you must be talking about the link boosting packages, Chris. No, those are just one time. That's it. Because we just set up the package for you, the service, and build as many links as what we showed, and then that's it. It's done. Okay. If you want another one a few months down the road, you certainly can get it.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's see. The done-for-you networks and link building is one-time fee. Okay, you answered that. Rainer says, "Hi Brad, why can't Google just look at your SEO plugins and figure out that you are gaming the system from that? I have disallowed WP content with robots.txt, but I understand Google can ignore that." Yeah, they can. There's some things you can do with HT access as well that can prevent them from looking in certain folders. I don't have that code right offhand, obviously. I use main WP for a lot of stuff, and that can hide some stuff too. There's some options in there. But you're right. That's why if you're doing a bunch of SEO like PBN sites and stuff, you're supposed to like switch up your plugins and all that kind of stuff so that you don't have the same footprint across all of them. So why can't Google just look at your SEO plugins? Well, they probably can. You know, but you got to think. That's part of the reason I like Yoast SEO plugin is because so many sites out there use it. You know, what are they going to do? They're going to punish everybody that's using Yoast SEO? Does that make sense? I mean, and I know you're saying other SEO plugins like perhaps you know, some of the Peter Garrity plugins or whatever. You know, I would just try to hide what you can, and then not use the same plugins on every one of your sites. It's okay for the money sites, really, but it's if you're talking about like PBN sites, because your money sites, you're not actually building links from that to other sites, you know, for the purpose of ranking. But for like PBN sites where they're used just to build links to rank stuff, yeah, you got to be careful. Okay, but that's why you hide your footprint. I'm sorry, hide your footprint on different hosts and everything else. Go ahead, Hernán.
Yeah, I wanted to say that if you have some plugins that you want that they are running background processes like the P1 or some others, you know, like social network auto posters and some others, you can have a subdomain that's no indexed, you know, and put them there on some cases, or I don't know, backlink commando, for example. And yeah, it's important to use different plugins. I like to have like 5 different, for example, 404 to 301, you know, on Link Shoes Keeper and Backlink Saver, those kind of plugins, and I usually deploy the PBN install, and I have 5 different plugins of each, and I try to vary them and make them random on the PBNs at least. But yeah, there are some legit sites and business sites that they are also using SEO plugins because it makes no sense not to use them. So I wouldn't worry about money sites too much.
That's it. Okay, Jamie has another question. He says, is there a video training that is just on branded networks and working with real people and real businesses? Similar to my last question, for example, Kevin Jones has a Gmail account, Google Plus profile, and a company page for his audio-video business. What are the best steps to set up his Tier 1 ring and gain access to his Google account without causing any issues with Google? In the IFTTT training, that's why we talk about setting up a page login. That's exactly why we do that. Okay, now again, if you set up a page login, that's why if you're ordering the done-for-you networks from us, that's why we request that if you have an existing account, because all we want access to is your YouTube channel and your Google Plus profile page, and that's it. We don't need access to your profile. We don't even want it, to be honest with you, because there's too many, you know, things that we could be blamed for and that kind of stuff. So we, you know, that's why we say just give us the page login. So set up a page login, and that gives you somebody else access only to the page and to the YouTube channel. Okay, so that's in the training already. Yeah, so that's what I would do. I mean, like I said, the other option is to have them add you as a page manager. But that's the thing. I mean, once you get the page login details, you can add yourself as a page manager and manage the page and the channel. By the way, they're one and the same. When you have access to somebody's Google Plus page, you have access to the associated channel, and likewise, or vice versa. Okay. So when you have the page login details, then you can make yourself a manager and then just work from there. And I know you know that part of it, but that's why I say just, you know, ask somebody to, if you're worried about there being a problem, ask them to add you as a page manager, and then you still would want to create a page login as soon as you could, because it just makes it easier. And I like to use, like when I'm, for example, with IFTTT, I like to be signed in as just the page and not the Google Plus profile anyways. It makes it easier and cleaner. There's no confusion there. So anyways, just follow that part of the training, Jamie. Lewis says, perfect, thanks, excellent. Let's see. How do you see where a test is ranking? Do you just scroll page after page and look? Good question, Scott. No, I've got so many rank trackers. Scott, Adam looks like he already answered that. Yeah, I just, I've got a desktop rank tracker, InSpider Rank Reporter. That's what I use for desktop rank tracking. Then I also use ProRankTracker.com, which is an online service. It's relatively cheap, and I use that because it tracks YouTube videos. And that's what's really cool about that. So I'll whatever my target keywords are that I'm testing, which generally won't be more than just a handful anyways, 3 to 5 or something like that. I'll throw those into the rank tracker, and then I'll monitor to see where my video, typically it will be a video, but where it lands, or monitor my results that way. Okay. So, wow, we can wrap it up early today. That's great. Okay, sweet. Thank you. I will update you guys after I get this set up. That's great, Jamie. Let us know if you have any other questions, man. Please just put them in the community or the group. That's fine. Do we have any other questions anywhere else? Because that kind of went fast. That's fine. We got the MasterClass coming up. We don't have to be on for an hour. So.
Yeah, I think we're good. I didn't see anything else, so we'll just give it a minute here. And just reiterate with the link building, if you do check it out later and it's shut down, don't be alarmed. It's not going away. It's just temporarily. We're going to take it down after 10 orders, just so we can make sure we stay in control of that. And then once we get the process flow down, we'll be opening it back up.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll do a little bit more, I'll flesh that sales page out a little bit more so there's more details as to exactly what you guys are getting. The sales video, which is funny, I think, but it doesn't really explain exactly what you're getting. So the order form does. It gives you more idea, but I'll put some more additional information underneath. Like I said, we'll try that out, guys, with a small handful of people up front, see how it works out. And Daddy is set up where he should be able to take the volume, but I don't want to do what we did with the IFTTT networks and get 20 orders in all at once and then be slow on delivery. So, anyways. All right, well, I think that's it. Let's see.
All right, yeah, we'll go get ready for MasterClass.
Jamie says, love it. I'm going to kill it. This knowledge is pure gold. After I get a few clients set up, this is going to go nuts. Awesome, Jamie. Well, glad to have everybody. And I think we'll see you in about 12 minutes on the MasterClass. So everybody that is in the MasterClass, we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Otherwise, we'll see the rest of you next week on the next Hump Day Hangout.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.